Today I'm going to have a look at this little CB radio, a Midland CB, and it's a model that I've not really had much to do with. Instead of the old CB 2781s, which we all know about, the old ones from 40 years ago, this is what followed it. It's an interesting little radio because this is a PR 2794, and so it moves on from the old 2781 spec, and it's supposed to be vastly improved with better filtering and performance. Well, let's see. I think this one is underestimated. It's a clever little radio. It doesn't look much. But it's got the regular 4-pin microphone, Midland microphone, the standard 4-pin plug. So there's no complications there, because some of the later radios have extra pins, and then of course you also have those that have the 5-pin DIN plug, which are a bit messy to work on to solder. But this one, it doesn't look much. You see, you've got 3 knobs. You've got the switch there, PA and CB, which of course we're familiar with, and you've got the switch there, normal channels and channel 9. Okay, but this is what I think is the clever bit. You've got a rotary channel switch, which some don't have now, which is nice, but all the 2 knobs here double up. So as it is now, it's volume. It's a volume control. But if you pull it out, it clicks out, and now it becomes a mic gain control. So as well as having a volume control on this little rig for such a small size, you've got a mic gain control. Push it back in, it's back to a volume control. Likewise this one here, the squelch. But if we pull it out, it becomes an RF gain control. So I think that's very clever, really. 2 knobs, 4 functions, 4 knobs in effect, in the space of 2. So I think that's very clever. Anyway, the next thing to do then is to see what it performs like, because they claim that it's got improved performance. Let's try it out. I'm not opening it up yet. We'll see what it performs like, and if necessary we'll open it up and get it on the test gear. It's a Midland 77104 GTL, which is a bit of a mouthful. Who on earth thought of a model number like that? Right, let's first of all, let's see how sensitive it is, because that's something that we're interested in. So, minus 122, minus 122 for a 12 dB cyanide, and that is pretty good. That is, I think if you're doing better than minus 120, you're doing very, very well. And this is doing minus 122. So turn that down now. So sensitivity wise, it's up there with the best of them. But of course it's a modern radio, so it should be sensitive, we hope. But that's it. You can't fault the sensitivity, absolutely bang on. So now let's do some transmit tests. The deviation meter is on the 0 to 3 scale, and so really we're looking at sort of 2.5-ish, which is that little arrow there. Looking at about 2.5-ish on the scale, and even that is being a little bit naughty, because with CB you should really have a peak deviation of 2 kHz, but we all tend to push it a little bit just to gain that little bit extra. So we're looking for between the number 2 there and the arrow there. Key up. Oh, we've got a noise from the CB radio in the room. And it would also help if we connect the deviation meter up. We won't get anything unless we connect it up. cable in the deviation meter, cable to the test probe. Key up, see what happens. The meter's gone to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hello, hello. So as you can see, it's going way over where it should be. So the deviation is set too high. That's one thing that we're not quite happy about then. So it's very sensitive on receive. Can't complain about that. But the deviation is a little bit high. It will spread a bit onto channels on either side. So that's one little adjustment that we've got to look into, because it looks like somebody in the past may have had a little tweak and a twiddle inside it. Well, that's one little thing to do. Now the next thing we want to do is check the frequency and the power. Right, the camera is now pointing at the frequency and power. So we'll key up and see what's coming out there. Key up, and the power output is 5 watts. So it looks like that's been tweaked and twiddled a little bit as well. 5 watts, which is a bit naughty. I better connect the frequency counter up now. Just confirming the transmit frequency in case I disturb the camera. There you go, 27,791,234. So it's moved slightly as things are warming up, but 27,791,235 it should be. It's pretty much back on. Yesterday I had a little look at this CB radio. I went through all the various checks and tests on it quickly, and we found that everything was pretty much as it should be. Perfect, bang on. Frequency was right, sensitivity was astounding, really sensitive, as most of these modern radios are. The only thing we could criticise it for was the power and the deviation. And so let's see if we can turn the power down a little bit, which is a sad thing to do, but rules are rules, and it should be at 4 watts. So this control here is supposed to turn the power. So key it up and give that a little bit of a turn. There we go. Spot on 4 watts. So I'm happy with that now. There was a possibility by pushing it up to 5 watts you could have caused the radio to overheat, of course. Apart from the rules and regulations, why push it and cause the radio to overheat? Because it doesn't really have much in the way of a heat sink. It just depends on the chassis. So I'm now happy with that. The next thing we want to do then is to get the deviation set up. Moving on to the deviation then. If you remember, it was way over the 3 kilohertz. So this should be the deviation control. Get the microphone in, give it a shot. Hello, 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 I'm now happy with that. I think we'll go down slightly. Take it down a little tiny little bit. That's better. I'm happy with that. Deviation is now where it should be. The power is where it should be. And so that's it, 100% perfect radio. Power's correct, deviation is correct, sensitivity is fantastic, frequency is spot on. A lovely little radio, an amazing performer for its size.